I guess just to start off with Seeds for Google Glass and this movie for computer screens, what sort of begat this sort of fascination with technology?
You know, I think tech came second and making something that was different came first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've always, wanted to, as like an up-and-coming filmmaker, I always was like, I shouldn't be making things that everybody's making. I'll never get noticed, there's a little bit of strategy there, but like for us, it was like taking these opportunities that no one thought was possible and still telling a very emotional story with them. We thought was a very cool challenge that would not only be what we want to do, which is tell a story, but do it in a way that would hopefully kind of give us another opportunity to make something else again. Because, whether it was a Google Glass video or slideshows for Google commercials, there's always some weird hook to what we were doing, and searching is no different.
Sure. How much of your life do you find sort of centered around technology?
I would say honestly no more than the next person.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I've developed a very odd, unique ability to frame them within a narrative.
Do you feel like technology is sort of a positive or a negative thing? Do you have any sort of...
Yes, I think it is both. Mm-hmm. And I think people only focus on the negative usually.
Mm-hmm. What is positive about technology, do you think?
I think while it has the ability to make us obsessed with our phones and alienate us, it also has the potential to make us love, connect, and laugh, and do a lot of things. Like the people who actually make tech, the engineers, their intentions are so good. Their intentions are like, they're not, but like media always says, hide your kids, hide your wife, it's like we have a certain like rapport about it that we wanted to kind of like hopefully just illuminate and kind of show more holistically.
Where do you see technology going in sort of the not too distant future? Do you think about that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I think about one thing that I think about is that like, we have tech companies right now, but I was thinking like, man, in the future, there's going to be no such thing as a tech company because every company, no matter what it does, is going to be a tech company. And I think like it's just like it's an aspect of our life that it feels like a thing now, but at one point, it's not going to be a thing. It's going to be ubiquitous, and this is just the way we're all going to live.
So much of the film is about sort of the duality between who you are in real life versus who you are on a screen. Does that ring true for yourself? Is that sort of...
Yeah, everyone likes to say no, but yeah, sure. I mean, I think online is a very obviously curated, specific version of yourself, and I think that's definitely the movie tries to talk a little bit about that duality.
Who are you on screen versus in real life? Do you find?
In real life, on screen, I'm charming, cute, very intelligent, very awesome. Real life, I find myself charming, cute, intelligent, awesome. No, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like my Facebook has sort of become a LinkedIn as of late, and my Twitter has become my inner thoughts, and my Instagram has become the most accurate version of my life.
Writing to the tech, how does that affect sort of the writing process for the screenplay?
Our objective from day one has been to take a very classic structure and a classic thriller format and just adapt it to take place on a screen. So we never wanted to make a screen movie. We wanted to make a normal movie that was just happened to take place on screens. So the first thing that we did was structure this story very classically like a normal movie. Every scene had to have a live action counterpart, in a normal movie. And basically then we studied every button on a computer screen and figured like what is the best button that we can press that would convey the right emotion there. So it's like that first, then that.
Do you find buttons on computers have sort of an intrinsic emotional value?
Not inherently, but there is a way to do it. And that's something that I learned at Google is like you can get a lot of emotion out of a place that you never thought you could.
Sure.
And that honestly has been kind of a weird theme in my life as far as using tech to tell stories.
What in particular, what sort of buttons can you sort of place emotions on?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is like emptying trash, Like I think like if you put the right thing in the trash can and then you empty that, like there's a very, very sad feeling about it, or there's something that you're letting go of something, and like I think that can convey emotion if you put it in the right context. It happens at a moment in the film, a very specific moment in the film. Whether you type something and backspace it, our idea of changing a period to an exclamation mark back to a period at the end of a sentence, like what does that convey? I think like there are these little kind of moments that truths that we all live online that I think can be exploited to a very cinematic canvas.
What sort of mystery films or thrillers did you look to when you were sort of coming up with this?
Every single missing kid story, ransom kid story, abducted kid story, dead and figuring out who did it kid story, like Ransom, Gone Girl, Prisoners, Making a Murder. We watch true crime stories, Serial, we listen to the podcast. Basically anything that involves somebody kind of going away for some weird situation, we were like, let's study it.
What do you take away from those films?
Ah, man, they're so good. How are we ever gonna do that? How are we ever gonna do that? No, I think oftentimes for us it was how to set up a good red herring, how to give clues in front of people's face and never feel like you're giving clues to them. That's one of the best things I think about Searching is that like the movie has a very very strong twist and like a whodunit at the end of it, but like and the clues to that are peppered everywhere. And I think we learned how to pepper those clues by watching the better films.
Well, I was going to ask, when you're writing a mystery, do you start with the ending, sort of the whodunit and the why, and then work your way back, or is that sort of something that develops organically?
Well, we know the ending. We know the who and the main why.
Sure.
But like a lot of other things, you're going both directions. You know, like you want to create something that is just because you know the answer at the end doesn't mean it's always going to lead to the most thrilling left to right watch. We need something that is most importantly thrilling left to right. So we're both like answering things here and creating things here that we need to answer over here. You know, it's a weird little mix and match, but I think what ends up coming out is a story that is very up and down, twist and turning.
How similar was the first draft to sort of what's ending up on
Very,
screen
very
now?
similar. Very similar. We ended up, I think, cutting one scene from it that we didn't need. The only changes to the movie were the stuff that we had to add to the side, you know, like in all of the lines of text that weren't part of the screenplay. But surprisingly, like our screenplay is, if you read it now, it's like you're not going to really notice a difference.
Given the content of the movie, is there room to change on set, or is it sort of strict by the book at that point?
We wanted to stay by the book on set. You know, we had really this movie is a lot about planning and doing things methodically and like, you know, understanding what the final product a year and a half later is going to look like a year and a half before, and we needed to kind of stay within those parameters. So a lot of set is like executing a version of this movie that we already knew in our head.
Do you see yourself as a filmmaker continuing to sort of use technology in your movies as sort of a basis, or?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I this is our last screen movie that we're making. I think technology, yeah, I think there's lessons here that I think I can absolutely use when technology plays a role in other narratives that I really want to kind of use. And in our next film, I think I'll probably maybe do a sequence like this. But like, this is just a way of telling a story. It's not the story itself.